Well, hello everybody. Welcome to tonight's show. Tonight we are glad to have um, Miss Corliss Turner here with us today. If she's ready, I'll bring her on in. And
Good
hey, how you doing, Miss
evening,
Corliss? How you doing?
CJ. How are you? I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be glad to have you on my show anytime.
Thank you.
How long you been in Rockdale, and how did Voices for Rockdale get started?
Let's see. I've been in Rockdale since December the 16th of 2016.
Okay.
Um, I went to the millage hearing in 2020 where they were wanting to increase the millage. And it was about five of us that attended the three millage hearings. I knew nothing about speaking or making comment, but I had common sense about increasing in the millage. And so I spoke with for my 3 minutes, and I continued to go to meetings. And as I continued to go to meetings and start listening to what the Board of Commissioners were saying, I've always been the type of person that if you say something to me, I'm going to investigate and see if it's the truth, because
Right.
someone can share something with you and you share it with someone else and you're helping that lie spread. So that's how it began with me with the government. I've never been in politics before, but it's always been important for me to know the facts personally, whether it's handling my own business, signing contracts, or whatever. And so after I started finding that some of the things weren't true, and I started learning more and more about government and learning more and more about the citizens' rights and what we can do to change, I started Voices for Rockdale on Nextdoor, and citizens start joining, and it just escalated from there.
There. And how many on your email list do you think you have? You probably have over
Uh,
at
it's
least a
over
thousand, right?
400, but we
Wow.
have actually, I would say we have about 1,050 on Nextdoor as Voices for
Okay.
Rockdale subscribers, and I call them subscribers because members are actually active. So I would say at least 100 active, getting involved and participating in
Mhm.
helping Voices get the word out. I do want to say that I am from Chicago, born and raised in Chicago. I moved down to the coast in 1995 because the gangs were getting pretty bad there.
Mm,
For an example, I don't know if you all remember the starter jackets. You probably don't,
mm,
CJ, but
mm.
they were jumping you and killing you over starter jackets. So we moved down to
Wow.
Gulfport, Mississippi. I
Mhm.
ended up after being there 6 months. I opened my first business, which was a beauty supply, and I
Mm.
also had contracts with licensed products where I serviced the licensed stylists as well. In a ladies' boutique, I sold the ladies' church suits and hats. Then I opened
Okay.
my second store in Biloxi, Mississippi.
Mm.
And then I got kind of ill down there with a medical condition that nobody could figure out what it was. And came here to Georgia and they found out what it was. So I shut my store down. And now here I am in Georgia. When
All
I
right.
first moved here, I moved to the Sandy Springs area,
Okay.
and I lived Sandy Springs, Roswell, Dunwoody, and I
Okay.
moved to Ellenwood in 2011. Then here in 2016, I have four children, nine grandchildren. So now you
Oh
know
wow.
everything about me.
Right. Now everybody knows everything. So
Yes.
that's what I wanted everybody to get to know it better. That's what my show's about. So
Okay.
all right. I think you have some information you sent out an email. I think it was last night. You said so. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sounds good. Let's talk about it
Let's
because
go.
it's the fact sheet. Voices
And
for
if y'all have
Rockville.
your fact sheet, go ahead and get it out, and you can go over it with us. Sorry about that.
Okay. Okay. Well, a lot of citizens don't know how the budget has increased since 2018. In 2018, it started at 67,421,589, and since then it has increased by $43 million.
Wow.
That's a huge increase, almost
Oh yeah.
50%. Rockdale County tends to spend money and they budget for it later. So when they do the budget hearing, it will be on money that they or on things that they have already spent revenue on. which
Hmm.
is kind of backwards, to
Right.
spend the
It
money
is.
and then, do your budget.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that they have no earthly knowledge of how much they have spent or how much they need. I think it
Mm.
should be done the opposite way.
Right.
The other I want to talk about is the judicial administrative complex. And I want
Yes.
everybody to understand that there was a task force for the complex, but
Mm-hmm.
that task force was given specific goals. They did not have a decision into where it was going to be located. Their main
Mm-hmm.
purpose was for the design of the task force. There was a vote on the task force, and with the completion of the design, and all members except one voted yes. We did an open records request to get each individual's vote, but they said the majority, it was unanimous, but that's not true because we did
Right.
attend the task force. But now they have gotten bonds approved for $110 million,
Mm.
and that $110 million is going to be paid back by the citizens. If you all remember in 2022 at the millage hearing on August the 9th of 2022, Commissioner Williams said that we need $6.6 million to show we qualify for bonds, and that equals 2 mil. So that's when they raised the millage from 16.69 to 18.69. Now listen to me again. We need 6.6 million to show we qualify. So you're going to buy you a house. You don't have the finances, so you borrow it from your friend or your neighbor to put in the bank when the underwriters look at everything to show you qualify. So that to me tells me that they are very financially unstable. The citizens voted in 2018 against the $140 million. Now, I want to also include in that the Democrat ballot. I know I need you all to follow me. There are
Yes.
questions on there, but what's the need
Mm-hmm.
of the questions when they don't listen to the citizens? Because
Exactly.
they voted against that in 2018. So then last year, 2023, there was another, I think it was $6.7 million included in the budget to go along with the 6.6 million. And now they have been, Commissioner Washington has bragged about their Moody rating, and
Mm.
that was sent in mass email as well as posted. And the rating that they got was because of their commitment to raise our property tax an unlimited amount. There was a
Wow.
legal notice also that has been sent out that they said they can raise our property taxes an unlimited amount in order to pay these bonds back, as 30 to 40 years that we'll be paying for these bonds. But
Wow.
speaking of property tax, you just get your property assessment bill, correct? I
Yep.
want everybody to understand that that assessment is based on last year's millage, which is 18.69.
Mm.
They will be setting the millage in August, and you can be sure that that millage is going to be more than 18.69. So what you see
Yes.
there is just an estimate according to last year's millage.
Mm.
Excuse me. If you
So.
also look on your assessment, you'll see a line for county bonds.
Mm-hmm.
I checked with the tax commissioner, Tisa Smart Washington, and she said that she hasn't heard anything if there's going to be a figure there yet because they haven't started breaking ground. Although they had
Gotcha.
a groundbreaking, but that lets you know that they're getting ready
Right.
to start.
Exactly. And
Right.
I had a question, but I lost my train of thought. But you can go ahead and go to your next thought you had. So let's go on from there.
Okay, there has been several lawsuits that a lot of citizens don't know about or not aware of. Did I say I was a fraud investigator?
No.
I'm a retired fraud investigator.
Okay.
So that's why we do, and
That's
I
why you
have
got a
an,
good background in this.
yes.
So,
And we have I have a advisory board with the Voices for Rockdale. So I don't want
uh-huh.
you all to think that I'm doing this alone. We have several board members that are have various areas that they have expertise in, like research, as well as me being a fraud investigator, research in county. If I tell one of the board members that I need something from maybe 1995, they can find it.
They can
We
find
have
it.
one of the board members does government contracts, and so they're well versed as far as reading and understanding legal documents. And then one accounting. So it's various talents that's
Yeah.
involved in Voices for Rockdale. But I'm the front runner. You can tell
Gotcha.
I like to, well, not that I like to talk, but I talk a lot.
Right.
And I like getting information out to the citizens. So
Yes.
I'm the front runner, but don't think I'm doing this by myself. But these
Mm-hmm.
lawsuits, they are in the federal court base
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of citizens don't go to, and a lot of them don't even go to the county court records, which anyone can find because it's public record. So I'm
Right.
going to talk about some of the lawsuits. There are EEOC complaints where we have paid out $750,000, I would say, in the last 5 years. Don't
Mm-hmm.
quote me on that, but we have paid out $750,000. When you have claims against your insurance, it increases your insurance policy. And the insurance has increased from 293,667 to $1.4 million. And
Whoa.
you can find that in the ACCG. That's the premium on it.
Okay.
But the county insurance carrier has paid more than 4.9 million in claims.
Mm. And that's
Four
just is
nine
that just
million.
for the board of commissioner, or is that
Yes.
for?
No,
Okay.
that's just for the board of commissioners. And the thing
Wow.
about that is that some of these claims are unnecessary, but we
Mm-hmm.
have we have an administration that I think that they have lost they're not in touch with what they're there for. I think that
No,
they feel like um, they're kings and queens, and
I
we
just
are
referred to it yesterday as the land of Oz. So
exactly. Yes, I'm glad you said that, and
yeah,
I mean
yes,
you're right.
I
Land of
said
Oz.
it. So it's the
You know
land of
what?
Oz.
Okay, okay, but you know there's one saying about all the king horses and all the king's men couldn't
Mm-hmm.
put ours back together again. So
Right.
that's what we really need to do as citizens. This has been going on for a long time, and citizens have complained for a long time, but it's time for us to step up
It
because
is.
we are actually the government.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to change administration. When someone keeps doing the same thing to you over and over and you
Right.
allow it, it's your fault. You should not
Exactly.
have to force anyone to treat you right. We have
Right.
done protests, we have spoke at meetings, and they say, I hear you, but then it doesn't show on paper that they
No.
actually hear us. And we're
No.
all feeling this effect. It's not any one party, it's not any religion, it's not any color or any wealth. We all are feeling this. Now, someone with more money, it might not affect them as bad, but
Right.
most of our citizens are senior citizens,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really affecting them.
Right.
So, the other thing I want to talk about with the lawsuits is the unethical lawsuits.
Okay.
We
Yes.
just
Yes.
had a lawsuit that settled in October of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
That lawsuit settled for $85,000.
Wow.
The attorney fees was $56,656, which equals $141,000.
Mm-hmm.
That lawsuit was because our chairman sent sexual offensive videos to a code enforcement employee. That
Mm-hmm.
code enforcement, let me go back, sent sexual offensive video to a code enforcement employee. December the 10th of 2019, Chairman Nesbitt signed the employee policy, and it was non-discrimination and harassment. 2 months later, February 2020, he sent this video. So 2 months, he violated the policy himself. That employee tried to show it to her manager, which at that time was Doug Chandler over code enforcement. He said he did not want to see it. Several
Right.
other employees, she brought that to their attention, even HR. No one would help her. They end up terminating her, and she ended up going to EEOC and filing this EEOC charge, and they settled.
And that's what a lot of people got to remember, because when it's voting time, voting starts tomorrow.
Exactly, exactly. But that's
We
not
want our
the end of
voices
the
heard, so go to the ballot box.
right. And the citizens are paying that, not Chairman Nesbitt, who
Mm-hmm.
violated it, not
Again, land the
Doug
funds.
Chandler, not Doug Chandler, who he did not follow through when this violation happened. So the
Mm-hmm.
chairman decided on November the 7th to promote Doug Chandler to Deputy Director of Code Enforcement. We did an open records request to find out who was the previous. The response was no incumbent.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that tell you? That was a created title. We
Mm-hmm.
got his pay increase. His pay increase was $7,000 a year. Still, the citizens are paying that increase because that has to be included in the budget. There
And
was a
we.
couple of other cases, one for $115,000
Mm-hmm.
um, years before, and the attorney fees were $94,000.
Mm.
And citizens don't know because these are federal cases.
Mm.
And that's our
Okay.
goal is to inform and empower the citizens. It's
Right.
not to bring anyone down, and we can't help if the information is a negative impact.
Exactly, and that's what at one time and point, uh, there was a video saying stuff about the chairman, and he didn't like it, and he brought it up in the meeting, and those were all facts. And so
Exactly.
when stuff don't co-align that goes up with him, he brings it up and say it's false, but it's actually facts.
His words are misinformation. And I
Mm-hmm.
noticed at the forum the other day, he called it the street committee. Well, we
Right,
we
right,
we okay being the street committee because
yeah,
that's what we're doing. We're putting it out in the streets. So
exactly.
citizens need to know, and it would
Mm-hmm.
not be fair for us to know something and not share it. But
Right.
speaking of that, one thing I did not share with the citizens, I
Mm-hmm.
had heard that the chairman was in law enforcement in Augusta, and
Mm-hmm. It
there
was.
was various rumors. So again, with me wanting to know the facts, we did an open records request to the GA Post,
Mm-hmm.
which is for the law enforcement, and sure enough, same behavior. Now remember, these two positions are sworn oaths, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So in Augusta, what he did is two college students were leaving the store. He was in his patrol car, and he asked them where were they going, and they told him where they were going. He told one to go ahead and the other to get in the car.
Hmm.
Chairman Nesbitt, at that time, Officer Nesbitt, went in the girl's bra, went in her panties, and he said that he was on special assignment looking for drugs. The
Hmm.
department investigated. Of course, he was suspended, I guess.
Wow.
But they investigated, and there was no special assignment.
Right.
She identified him in a photo lineup.
Mm.
They began to try to contact him for a open records. I mean, I'm sorry, for a lie detector test. They never could contact him.
Mm.
He did apply for a job, and they sent it to the police in order to get a reference. So they sent it to that address. Still couldn't contact him. So he has been decertified in the state of Georgia that he could never be in law enforcement.
Wow.
Now,
That
I
should tell
want
you something right
everybody.
there.
Yes, but I won't. But this is repeat behavior. That was probably about 15, 20 years ago, but you're
Mm-hmm.
doing the same thing.
Right.
So here is my thing here. I want everybody to understand. If it
Yes.
comes out of my mouth, we can send you proof. We can
Mm.
send you the open records request. All you have to do is email voices for FOR Rockdale@gmail.com.
Yes.
Another behavior that I feel is very important is our Commissioner Washington being
Mm-hmm.
disbarred. Three clients trusted her to handle their case. One lady, she was getting a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
When you're married to someone 10 years or more, you can get half of their pension.
Yeah.
Well, Sherry didn't show, Commissioner Washington did not show up in court. So this young lady was made to pay his attorney fees, which were $5,000. She didn't get half of his pension, and she didn't get spousal support.
Wow.
But she was smart. She turned around and she filed a garnishment against Commissioner Washington. Now her salary is being garnished by this particular person. But there was two others. One was losing her parents, or afraid of losing her parents because they were wandering around with dementia.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Belcher,
Okay. Oh
and
yeah.
yes, and she didn't show up in court. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
she did lose the parents or what happened, the end story, but Commissioner Washington didn't show up in court.
Hmm.
I was on the elevator the day Fox News stepped in with the mic and said, Commissioner Washington, what do you have to say to Miss Belcher? She said, I wish her well. If
Right.
you look at that video on YouTube, I'm the one with the yellow shirt on. And
Okay.
I was like, wonder what is going on here.
Uh
So this is my point. Let me say something else about Commissioner Washington and Chairman Nesbitt.
oh. Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Washington, you can go to the Rockdale County Court records. Anyone can
Yeah.
look there and you can put in their name, and you'll see in 2014, 2015, 2021, and 2022 that she was, Commissioner Washington was served with eviction
Okay.
at her current address.
All
Evidently,
right.
she paid it and she's still there. Chairman Nesbitt, his campaign office is where he wants to open a cigar bar. He had a
Hmm.
contractor to renovate it, and he did not pay him $19,000. So there is a contractor's lien against him.
Okay.
My point is here, if your personal business is in disarray, how can you handle millions? That's a
Exactly.
direct reflection on how you handle business. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
putting that out there. I know that's their personal, but all of it ties in there together, and we need to know that.
Right.
So that's why I brought that up. Also, the state legislators just gave them a 16.5% pay increase effective June 30th of 2023.
Mm.
They're on the same train as the judges. So the judges get an increase, the Board of Commissioners get an increase, and that went into effect, like I say, June of 2023.
What have they
Just
done to get that increase? Is my question.
say it again.
What have they done to get that increase or a pay increase? Is my
Exactly,
question. Yeah.
exactly. But that was one thing that one of the legislators, Representative Taylor, wanted to take them off of that train. But
Mm.
it went up to Senate, which is Tanya Anderson, and she kept them on that train. She didn't feel like because the judges get a raise, the BOC should get a raise.
Not
But just
exactly.
here, January, I think it was January 29th or the beginning of February, they
Mm-hmm.
just voted themselves in a 38% pay increase.
Wow.
38% plus the 16%. That's
And you got
less
that,
than a year that they're getting another pay increase.
and I think you got that in our email, right? That
Yes,
worksheet.
yes,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
that's on the fact sheet.
All right.
Okay, now I do want to mention, since we talked about taxes before, the
Mm-hmm.
county is buying prime real estate. When they purchase prime real estate, like the real estate on Sigmund Road,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the Bank of America building, that
Oh
takes
wow.
it out of the tax digest.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I mean by takes it out of the tax digest? We're
Explain it
not
for those that
collecting
don't know.
taxes. Exactly.
Right.
We're not collecting taxes on
Mm-hmm.
that property. We talked about the unethical behavior. Now I
Mm-hmm.
want to go to this high density development. In March
Yes.
of 2021, the Planning Commission, which they were handpicked by the city and by the Board of Commissioners,
Mm-hmm.
and they were trusted to make decisions or recommendations on developments or different rezoning for the county.
Okay.
These are not just planning commission citizens. They have various backgrounds. They do their research. And they
Mm-hmm.
suggested in March of 2021 to put a moratorium on building in Rockdale County. The reason they need
Let
to
it
put
break
a
up.
moratorium,
Mm-hmm.
and you're allowing these developers to come in here and build in areas that the infrastructure is not up to par. So that means that people are going to be buying homes in areas and getting flooding or
Mm.
sinkholes. So
Right.
that's saying that it's all about money for the county.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Oh
the
yeah.
chairman has constantly said that these pipes and everything is 40 years old, and it's the previous administration. Well, Chairman, you've been in this 16 years, so
Yes, he
what
has.
did you do? You knew this. So what have
Mm-hmm.
you done in 16 years as far
Right.
as this infrastructure?
Exactly.
So, yeah, so we have to actually hear what they're saying. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
advantage of being a fraud investigator. I hear
Mm-hmm.
them word for word. They talked about having a forensic audit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Right.
August, I think that was August 16th of 2022 at the end of the millage hearing.
Mm.
And everyone clapped and said, oh, we're going to have a forensic audit. No, what the chairman said is, I motion for the
Mm.
CFO, Mark Lewis, and our financial advisor, Terminus, to go out and find out how much is it going to cost for a forensic audit. Bring it back to us in 2 weeks, and we will review it. That is not a commitment to have a forensic audit.
Mm.
So that's why we have to listen to what they say word for
Right.
word.
Exactly.
Being a fraud investigator, I can find a lie in the truth. I'm gonna let
Right.
that resonate with you for a minute.
Well, I got that video. If you want me to play that video of Sherry in the elevator, if you want to take
Yes,
a break from talking. So
yes,
let's look at
thank
that
you.
video.
The Georgia Supreme Court has disbarred Rockdale County Attorney and County Commissioner Sherry Washington.
The court found Washington knowingly violated her duties to 3 different clients, which resulted in serious or potentially serious harm to all 3.
Senior I-Team reporter Dale Russell profiled one of those clients, Deshaun Mayweather, earlier this year and is here now with an update. Dale?
Russ, Deshaun Mayweather hired attorney Sherry Washington back in 2017 to handle a divorce. Mayweather said it turned into a disaster and led to a lawsuit against her lawyer and a state bar complaint. It made it all the way to the Georgia Supreme Court.
I was relieved.
Deshaun Mayweather says along with the relief, she had a strong feeling of calm when she heard that the Georgia Supreme Court disbarred Rockdale County Commissioner and Attorney Sherry Washington.
I automatically kind of had a sense of peace knowing that she can't do what's been going on to myself and others. It will never happen to anyone else again.
In 2017, Deshaun Mayweather hired Sherry Washington to handle her divorce. She says she had a strong case. Adultery. Her husband had fathered a child with his girlfriend and had taken nude photos and videos of Mayweather without her knowledge, according to a state bar disciplinary report. But there was one big problem. When it came time for trial, Sherry Washington didn't tell her client and didn't show up in court. Not once, but twice. Deshaun didn't know about the missed trial dates until she looked the case up at the courthouse. According to a lawsuit she later filed, Deshaun found out the judge ruled in her husband's favor in the divorce case, denied her spousal support, a portion of her husband's retirement, and ordered her to pay his attorney fees, $5,000. What was your reaction?
I cried. I was in Fulton County Courthouse and I cried.
Deshaun ultimately sued Sherry Washington and won a judgment for $48,000 plus interest. To get paid, she had to garnish Washington's county commission salary. What do you say to these people who say that you took their money and did no work? Deshaun Mayweather wasn't done. She filed a State Bar of Georgia complaint against Sherry Washington. The Supreme Court considered Mayweather's case along with 2 others. The court found Commissioner Washington knowingly and intentionally violated her duties she owed to her clients, and that her conduct resulted in serious or potentially serious harm to her clients. Citing prior discipline problems along with a pattern of misconduct, the Supreme Court unanimously ordered Washington be disbarred.
The feeling is that I'm really glad that the Supreme Court was very thorough and they made the right decision.
Commissioner Washington did not respond to requests for comment from the I-Team, though she is no longer a licensed attorney. She is still a Rockdale County Commissioner.
I understand that there is a difference between her as an attorney and her position as county commissioner. However, when it comes to ethical practice, that transitions through all positions.
Now, according to state bar rules, Sherry Washington must wait 5 years before asking to have her license reinstated.
So is her position as a county commissioner in jeopardy at all as a consequence of this?
As of right now, we don't believe so. It's seen as a separation of powers, if you will.
Okay.
Her job as a lawyer is essentially different in many ways from her job as a county commissioner. You have a lot of lawyers that are on county commissions, but I would be really surprised if some action is taken at this point.
All right, it's eye-opening.
It's been an interesting run on this investigation, because we've had several other people who also came to us with similar complaints that were not involved in this Supreme Court decision. It's far more people than just the 3 in the Supreme Court decision, and even the ones that we've interviewed, and we've heard from others as well.
All right. Dale, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Dale.
All right, there you have it, folks. And yes, we do have something we can do about it, because it starts Monday. We can vote her out of office.
Exactly. And what I look at is that her and the chairman can sit there with no shame and just go on like every day, like nothing has happened. That for me, I look at it as heartless, because I have a heart for people. And if your actions don't match your mouth, I just couldn't sleep at night doing those things to people. And I think that's where maybe I have a weakness, having compassion for someone else. But I want to go to something the chairman is always saying: shop the rock.
Right.
I'm gonna go through some figures here, and then I'm gonna summarize. 2021, they went to the Brazelton, Georgia Chateau Leon for $24,449. 2022, they went to Greenville, South Carolina for $24,980. I'm gonna skip 2022 and I'm gonna come back to it. 2023, they went to the bridge retreat held at Peachtree City Crown Plaza for $18,000. 2023, 2 weeks later, they went to Columbus, Georgia, to a retreat for $11,538. They currently have planned a retreat for May of 2024 to Macon, Georgia, estimated at $8,060, and the food allowances, they have committed to $6,000. Now, going back to 2022, when the same year that they needed the 6.6 million in motion for the forensic audit, we asked them, could they look at, I think Charlotte Gillick spoke and asked if they could look at the budget again and find some ways to cut. So they did cut, and they went to costly meal for the retreat. The retreat was $1,246. Now we paid, if one of them are on here, if one of, I think we paid $4 million for costly meal, maybe $2 million. I don't know that off the top of my head, but we do have it in file. So at all of these retreats, we had the CFO, we had Jennifer Rutledge, and we had Sue Sanders on the agenda. Even if you had trainers or someone coming from another state, it is more cost effective to bring those to Rockdale County and shop the rock, put them in a hotel. This opportunity of feeding these employees and the guests is missed opportunities for small businesses in the community.
Right.
But it's a shop the rock. So we have to keep that in mind when we go to the polls. And if you look up these hotels, and this has been sent in email as well as posted, these are 4.5 and 5-star hotels, rooftop this, and they don't make these kind of reservations using their own money. So Rockdale citizens, you need to realize that you are being used, you're being
Yeah.
manipulated, you're being lied to. I don't care
Mhm.
if either one of these commissioners or the chairman is your friend, your family, they're taking advantage of you. And you need to
Mhm.
cut off people that make withdrawals. It's supposed to be deposits in your
Right.
life. And they say that businesses don't want to come here because of the income. Like I said, I moved here to Roswell, and I'm sure you all have been to other communities. Even
Mhm.
go over here to McDonough or Stockbridge. Look at how they take care of the community. Whole
Exactly.
Foods, Sprouts are not going to move into a community where you can't see the lines on the street, where the side of the roads are not being taken care of. So it's
Mhm.
more than just income, because they will look at
Right.
neighboring communities
Mhm.
to come here. But we
Mhm.
have nothing to attract them. You could just look at the little area where Target and Publix is. Look
Mhm.
how
Yeah.
manicured that is. Then you just cross the street, you're in the county. There is a
Exactly.
difference. It is time to vote them out, Rockdale
Yes.
County. It is
Yes.
time to show up in the primary April
Mhm.
29th through May the 17th.
I got
And
that
that will
banner
be
hung.
at 1115 West Avenue. And then on May the, what is it,
May
21st,
21st.
be at your precinct.
Yes.
This is a primary election.
Mhm.
All of your local officials, judges, and school board is going to be on the primary ballot. So in order to vote or make a change, you must ask for a Democrat ballot. When you go in, you sit
Yes.
down and give them your ID, ask for a Democrat ballot. Don't
Yes.
worry about it.
Mm-mm.
All the candidates will be on the general ballot. So
Yes.
you need to ask for a Democrat ballot. I want to tell
Right.
you something else. Judges in Board of Education is determined in the primary. They do not
Mhm.
go on to the general election. Now, speaking of the Board of Education, failing school with the superintendent that we're paying $285,000 a year, just
Mhm.
extended his contract for another, I think it's 3 years, it might be
Yeah.
5, but also they gave him a bonus for
Mhm.
a failing school. When he talks about the graduation rate and all the other scores, he's talking about the magnet, he's talking about Career Academy,
Mhm.
and there's another one. He's not talking about the other. He's talking about maybe 3,000 students out of 15,980 students. What about
Right.
those students? They're just important. And any
Mhm.
superintendent that does not live in the county, it's no direct reflection on him. We need
Right.
to have a superintendent that lives in the county. We have board members, Sandra Jackson Lett, Justin Kenny, and Janie Jones voted
Mhm.
against the budget. They also voted against him extending his contract, his raise, and we need to keep them. Justin is going to be up for reelection. Voices is nonpartisan. The
Mhm.
Board of Education are nonpartisan, so I can talk about this.
Right.
He needs to be it's not actually reelected because he was appointed to finish out
Exactly.
Wells' Barksdale term. We need to
Mhm.
elect Justin
Elect him.
Kenny, and we need
Mhm.
to elect Larry Cox, and we need to elect Tanae Davis and
Yes.
Darlene Smith. I hope I didn't
Yes.
miss
I
anybody,
agree.
but for those three, we need at least one more
Mhm.
to, because the Board of Education, the members do not understand they are the boss. But we
Mhm.
have four members that allows the superintendent to run the school. Only
Mhm.
thing he's supposed to do is as far as programs and things in the school. But when it comes to that budget and
Yes.
everything else, that is supposed to be the duties of the BOE. And we have sent them their responsibility as well as the superintendent. So please
Mhm.
come out and vote. If you're Republican, regardless of what you are, please get the ballot.
Get the Democrat, because let me speak to the Republicans right now, because you can switch back in November. Don't worry about that. You can get a Democrat ballot now and go again in November and vote the way you want to. So don't worry about it. Go ahead and get a Democrat ballot now so we can save our county. This is so
Yes,
important. Please do that.
yes. And
All
Georgia
right.
is one of the few states that you do not register by party.
Hmm. And I think
So
that's really
please
important to do
show
that.
up and vote. I
Right.
guess I've talked enough, huh, CJ? Is there any
Hey, we
questions
got
in
it.
the audience?
We have any questions in the chat that y'all have? Let's see here. There's just comments, going on just to go show what you're saying. Unfortunately, most folks in Rockdale vote out of habit. It's not a one-party system in Rockdale. That's the problem. Yeah, so people just go down the ballot, and if they see an incumbent, they vote for the incumbent,
Exactly.
and we have to stop that.
I want to say this too, CJ. We have these
Yeah.
fact sheets that I just went over. I don't know if they can see it, and it has
Mhm.
all the information on here, and it tells them where they can find this information.
Okay.
And if you would like to pass out some of these in your community, please send an email to voicesforrockdale@gmail.com. Give us your address and we will bring some to you, or we can
Yes.
send you the attachment and you can print them. But we do have them printed out. We must get this to as many citizens as we can.
Yes. Yes. But the most important thing I think tonight's show is that early voting starts tomorrow, April 29th through May 17th, and you can go to 1115 West Avenue, Southwest Conyers, Georgia, and that's where the early voting is going to start. So get out
Yes.
there early. It starts at 7 a.m. So I'm going to be one of the first ones to get out there and vote on the first day.
And listen, let me say this as well. Go and look at your tax assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Go look at that assessment, and that'll make you get out there and vote, because that is not going to be with your bill when it comes out in September, because the millage hearing is in August, and expect a bigger tax bill.
And we need people to come in August to come to those meetings.
Yes.
So we can, if they'll listen to, well, we may not have a new whole board. And
well, no, and they won't start till 2025.
Oh, okay.
Correct. And the thing is, when your property value goes up, they could have took a rollback. When they had the 16.69, they could have rolled it back to 14.69 and still collected more revenue than they did the year before. So they're not thinking about you. So why should we think about them? We need to get someone in there that has a heart for the people and listen to the people, because we are the government.
Exactly. So let's see, go back to the comments, see if we have. Why do we need to ask for a Democrat ballot if the state doesn't require us to register? You need to ask for a Democrat ballot, because that's all the ones who are running, they're on a Democrat ballot. They got the nonpartisans on there as well, but for the Democrat, your Richard Odin, Janice Van Ness, Oz, and all of them are on the Democrat ballot. So if you see the Republican ballot, there's like nobody on go for the chairman. So
right. On the Republican ballot, all you're going to see is the Board of Education and the judges. You won't see the commissioner. You won't see the chairman. You won't see any candidates that affects Rockdale County.
Right. And that's why you need to go for a Democrat again.
Democrat ballot.
For the Republicans, you can switch back in November. So we're a state that does not register. So don't worry about it. You can go and change it back in November to vote Republican.
Right.
And let's see. Can you please repeat the school board races? Or who's running? And that is Larry Cox and who else?
Tanae Davis.
Justin Kinney. And
Darlene Smith.
Darlene Smith, yes. So yeah, that's it.
Well, you have some other candidates that's running. Mark. I can't remember his name.
John Mark.
I can only remember the ones I'm voting for.
Right. So if Larry has those, if you can post those in the chat, Larry, that would be a help to us.
Yes.
Does anybody else have any questions for us?
In the Democrat ballot has been sent in mass email placed on Facebook and on Nextdoor.
Okay. Yes.
Right.
And I've been posting it.
Go ahead.
I've been posting the ballot on mine as well.
In November, they won't have to switch. They won't have to ask for any, because it'll be one ballot with both Democrat and Republican on it.
Exactly.
Which would be like Mark, David Scott, which is U.S. representatives. but we need the
Mhm.
local. We need to
Right.
concentrate on the local because that is what's affecting us most.
Exactly. And again, I'm going to show this information so y'all know where it's at. It's going to be 1115 West Avenue, and it starts tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 to 7, and that's 1115 West Avenue. And request for your Democrat ballot. And
Is it
I want to. Yes, you got anything else
is
for
it
me?
7 or 8 a.m.? I'm
Is it?
looking.
It
It's
should be
8
7.
a.m.
Oh,
tomorrow.
8 a.m. 8 a.m.
8 to 5. Yes.
Okay. I apologize for that. It's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I don't know if that's for every day, but let's go with 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
8 a.m. to 5 p.m., April 29th to May the 3rd, Monday through Friday. 9 a.m. to 5 on May the 4th, which is a Saturday. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., May the 5th. And then back to 8 a.m. to 5, May the 6th through the 10th, which is Monday through Friday. Again, on Saturday, May the 11th at 9 a.m. and 8 a.m. to 5, May the 13th through May the 14th, which is Monday and Tuesday. And then May the 17th is 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., which is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Okay. Got you. Somebody asked about the sheriff's race. That's Corey Hembrick and Eric Levitt, and I can't remember the other guy that's running. Do you know his name?
Ronald Muckle.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Right.
them. And we're not telling you who
Can
to vote for
Corliss
here.
Turner
Just
share what? I
was
just saw something.
well, she wanted your selection with us, but we don't do that here. So we
Right.
let you decide your own decisions. And that's why we have these forums. So when we bring these candidates on, you get to know who the candidate is and what they're for. You can go back on my page. I've done a couple of them already, so I may continue them so you can know who they are.
Right.
If you have a candidate that wants to be on this show, please let me know and I'll get them on here. And so,
Well, I will say this, so CJ, on my personal page, I
mm-hmm.
do have my endorsements, but I was
Yes,
able to speak about the Board of Education because they're nonpartisan and
exactly.
Voices is nonpartisan.
Yeah. So if nobody has any questions or the sheriff's race again, it's Eric Levitt, Corey Hambrick, and I still forget his name again.
Ronald Muckle.
Ronald Muckle. He's a new one in the area,
Yes.
so I may have one of the sheriffs on that wants to come on here and talk about their campaign. So if anybody's in line with them, please get in contact with them and I'll have them on because we have till May 21st. So I'll have them on till then because it's voting
Great.
season.
Great.
All right, I think that'll be it. I'm gonna leave out with this on there so people know when and where to vote. And I appreciate you, Miss Corliss, for all you do for the county. And
Thank you.
I'm not going to say what Chairman Oz says because we can't believe what he says. I think at this time it gets on everybody's nerves.
No, thank you, CJ, for having me. And I think this was the perfect time, so citizens can remember at the ballot box. And there's more information, you all. This is just tidbits. So if you join our mass email list, voicesforrockdale@gmail.com. And like I said, everything I said, if you want a copy of it, just say that in your email and we'll send you the open records request.
Exactly. And
well, let me say this one thing too.
Go ahead.
The central office and the Board of Education, we have open records requests from them as well. They're very top heavy, and it's over 53 people and the employees in the central office making over $100,000, and we can send that to you as well.
Okay. Yeah, so anything you need in Chile, we can send you a copy of the ballot if you need it. So, again, but go on on Rockdale Community Forums page. I got it posted out there. I'll post it again tonight so people will know what's on the ballot. Again, get the Democrat ballot because everybody's on the Democrat ballot. And so, again, that's 1115 West Avenue, Conyers, Georgia 30012, and it starts tomorrow morning. I appreciate everybody coming on here, making it a lively discussion, and I appreciate again Miss Corliss Turner. Thanks for all she does
for
Rockdale
having
County.
me. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
You all
All
have
right.
a great evening.
Yes,
Let's
ma'am.
make a change in Rockdale County.
Yes, ma'am.